What is going on, everyone? How are we doing today? Let me just check on the stream health, make sure everything's good to go, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Everyone hear me okay? Everyone see the screen okay? Yeah. Look. All right, let's do it. Okay, cool. So obviously today's webinar is going to be about breaking the revenge trading cycle, right? Massive psychological issue for everyone in trading. Everyone has gone through it at some point. Some of you might even be stuck in a hole at some point and just trying to break free, but you don't know how. So that's what I'm going to do today, is give you the tools, right? So as I say, today we're going to be tackling one of the most destructive habits in trading, which is obviously revenge trading. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Josh. I run the TradeZella community and I've been trading for just shy of 8 years now. But I want you to know that I'm not speaking to you today as some kind of guru who's always had it figured out. I've been where you are, I've blown accounts, I've felt the shame, and I've had to claw my way back. Now, let me tell you this, right? You don't blow up because your setup failed. You blow up because of something inside you snapped and you just kept clicking that button. Till in itself isn't rage or anger. It's not even panic. It's when the market pokes an old wound that suddenly you're not following your trading plan. You're trading to fix a feeling. So when I say an old wound, like a loss, a significant loss, something like that. And when that switch flips, rules no longer start to matter to you. Risk no longer matters. And the only thing that matters is getting back and avenging that loss. This webinar isn't going to be about motivation. I'm not going to tell you to be disciplined. I'm going to give you the tools, systems, resets, and circuit breakers that you can actually use tomorrow to basically break free of the revenge cycle for good. Now, I'm going to be completely real with you guys. The first time I started making money through trading, I thought I'd made it. I had about $40,000 sitting in my bank, more money than I'd ever seen in my life at that point. And I was telling my family, I was telling my friends, I was showing them how well I was doing, and I felt unstoppable, right? But within just 2 weeks after that, it was all gone. Not from my actual trading account, but from blowing prop firm challenges, blowing live accounts back to back, day after day. And I wasn't trading the market anymore. I was just burning money, chasing losers, trying to prove something. And the worst part wasn't even about losing the money. It was the shame that came after. Friends and family who I'd bragged to start asking questions. Wait, what happened? How did you lose it all? I didn't even have a good answer for them. It got so bad that I actually had to borrow money from my family just to get by. Imagine the embarrassment of going from, look how well I'm doing now, to, oh, can you help me please, because I've just blown it all. That was rock bottom. And I thought I had seen lows in trading before, but this was a new kind of low, a mix of guilt, shame, and self-disgust, right? That was my wake-up call. And the only reason I came out the other side is because I finally learned how to break free of the revenge trading cycle. So if this story feels uncomfortably close to home, if you've been stuck in that spiral, I want you to listen carefully, because by the end of this webinar, you'll walk away with an actual plan to stop this for good and rebuild the discipline that keeps you in the game long enough to let your edge actually play out. Okay? So first of all, let's go ahead and talk about the science of tilt and brain chemistry, right? So what actually happens in your brain when you tilt? Inside your brain is a small almond-shaped cluster of cells called the amygdala. Its job is to basically process threats. It kept our ancestors alive when lions were chasing them, and when they were out in the wild and needed to react instantly. Here's the problem. The amygdala doesn't know the difference between a lion in the wild and a $500 loss on your chart. To the nervous system, it's the exact same thing. And that's why when you take a hit that you weren't expecting, you feel it in your body first. Your breathing shortens, your vision narrows, your heart rate spikes, and your hands might even shake in severe cases. What's happening there is your brain has triggered fight or flight. And the kicker is, in fight or flight, the logical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, literally gets dialed down. That's the part of your brain that manages discipline, logic, planning, and rational decision making. The blood flow shifts away from it because your body thinks it doesn't need logic, it needs speed and survival. That's why traders who basically think that they know better still blow up, right? It's not because you're stupid, it's because your nervous system is literally reacting as if you're in danger. So instead of calmly following your plan, your body pushes you to act fast, impulsively, emotionally. That's tilt. You're not chasing the trade, you're chasing the safety. And that is why tilt is so dangerous, because in the moment, it doesn't feel irrational. It feels necessary. You actually believe in that moment, if I take this one more trade, it will fix it and you'll be safe again. Now, here's where it gets a little bit deeper. Okay. So tilt isn't just psychological, it's actually chemical, right? And there's three players that are flooding your system when you tilt. First of all, you've got cortisol, the stress hormone. Every loss spikes cortisol. It narrows focus, increases tension, and primes you for your reaction. Then you've got adrenaline, which is the action hormone. This pushes you to click again right after a loss. So stillness feels sort of unsafe. So you act even when you know that you shouldn't. And then finally, you've got dopamine, the worst one of them all. Dopamine is the chemical reward, right? Every click, win or loss gives you a little hit. And that little buzz is the same mechanism casinos use with slot machines. You start craving the act of trading itself, not the outcome. That's where you can be down $1,000 and still feel a weird slight bit of relief just from clicking the buy button, right? Now, put this together, cortisol makes you feel threatened, adrenaline pushes you to act, and dopamine rewards you for acting. That's the loop. That's tilt right there going on in your body. Now, no one revenge trades because they think it's smart. You do it because your brain is screaming for relief. And for a moment, clicking works. The stress eases, you feel in control again, but then the loss hits, cortisol spikes higher, adrenaline urges another click, and dopamine rewards it. And you're trapped in this constant loop. That's why trading feels addictive, because biologically it is. The market becomes your slot machine. And until you learn how to break that chemical cycle, no strategy, no setup, no indicator will save you. Because the problem isn't the chart. The problem is your nervous system hijacking your decisions when trading. So let's run through what a typical day looks like as a revenge trader. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this, right? And you've all been through this kind of cycle. So you start in the morning with -1R, annoying, but very manageable. And at this point, there's no real damage, right? Every trader in the world can take a -1R loss, but instead of stopping, tilt starts to creep in. Tell yourself, I'll just get it back. So you double your size, one click, one chase, trade later. Now you're sitting at -4R. That's when the panic starts to set in. Your breathing changes, your chest gets tight, and you know you shouldn't keep trading, but your brain convinces you, if I just take one more trade, it can all turn around and I can end the day in profit. So you click again, and that's not even in your plan. It's just pure impulse at that point. Now you're down -8R, and the day is completely blown. And weeks of progress has now just been wiped. By the end of your session, you're staring at your account balance, wondering what the hell just happened. You didn't lose money, you lost control of it altogether. Does that sound familiar to everyone? Yeah, I'm sure everyone has been through that at some point, right? It's almost a part of the process at this point these days. Okay, so I want you to see a pattern here. It's never the first loss that destroys you. It's the spiral afterwards. And tilt doesn't always look like smashing keyboards or screaming at screens. Sometimes it's very, very subtle, right? It's refusing to take a small loss because your ego won't allow it. Doubling size on a so-called sure thing. Or holding onto a shitty setup because you need to be right. That's not trading, that's simply just reacting. And you're no longer trading the chart, you're trading your pain and you're trading with your ego. And the scary part is that spiral doesn't stop at the end of the day. For some traders, it rolls on into the next session and the next until you're weeks into a hole, burning through accounts, telling yourself every morning, today will be different, but playing out the exact same spiral again. Sorry, guys. Guys, by the way, whilst you're in here, just want to remind you, make sure to like the stream and obviously subscribe to the TradeZella channel if you're not already. We do these webinars weekly and we have all sorts of good stuff coming for you, okay? Right, so what I want to do is I want to tell you what the 6 different types of revenge traders are, right? And I want you to think, which one are you, okay? So there's the one more trader, right? The trader who hates ending red on the day, keeps taking one more trade to scratch the day green. They dig deeper and deeper, refusing to stop at -1R. Then there's the doubler, right? They take an early loss on the day. They double or triple size immediately. And after a loss, they have to make it back faster. The problem there is that the size hike compounds mistakes and accelerates blowups. And they often think in their head, if I win this one, I'll just be back to break even, right? Then you've got the martingale mascada, right? A small string of basically small losses. They keep stacking more and more with every loss, telling themselves that they're just averaging in. They turn controlled red days into account killing meltdowns. And they're often the person saying, it has to bounce from this zone. It has to bounce from this key level, right? Then you've got the overanalyzer. So this is the trigger where it's, you missed your setup and then you force trades outside your plan to just prove, yeah, okay, I still know what the market's doing. There's a trade here, even though there's not, all right? And their problem is just simply over trading. Then you've got the silent spiral trader. And their trigger is just they feel shame after a big loss and they quietly keep trading, sometimes for days, weeks, burning through multiple accounts. And the problem is they don't talk about it. So the cycle compounds into make money back mode, we call it, right? And they isolate themselves and they believe they can fix it alone. So they bury the losses instead of facing them. Prop challenge after prop challenge, end the cycle of make money back mode, eventually burns through not just their accounts, their confidence and their bank accounts. And then finally, we've got the tilt addict, right? This is probably the worst one of them all. But for the tilt addict, chaos essentially feels normal, right? Being on tilt is just another day. You basically need emotional intensity to feel alive. So they subconsciously create tilt, oversizing, overtrading, and ignoring fatigue in general. And the problem is that revenge trading for them isn't even a mistake. It's just their default state at that point. Knowing which one suits you and you are, isn't putting a label on yourself. It's about spotting your triggers. Because if you don't track and recognize your patterns, you'll never see the spiral coming until it's too late. And that's why I want you to use journaling, tags, check-ins, track when tilt starts, and basically, was it after missing a setup? Was it back-to-back losses? After you sized up, what actually is causing your tilt? And if you can track your triggers, you can catch yourself in the moment and just quickly stop that destructive cycle before it even starts. Now, as I say, I want you to take a moment to think about which one of these is you and put it in the chat. Because today I'm basically going to give you simple fixes to solve all of them, right? In my opinion, there are 6 types of revenge trader, and these can be broken down to 2 fixes. So let me see which ones you guys are, and then we'll go ahead and give you the fix. Many of them, type 1 and 2. Cool. Okay. Tilt addict, overtrading. All right. Okay. So here's a fix for basically 4 of them. Okay. Now, the one more trader, the doubler, the martingale trader, the overanalyzer, you guys all share the same problem. You don't know when to stop, right? You think the solution to a bad trade is just more trades. But the truth is, the more you trade, the deeper the hole gets. So here's the fix for you. And it's going to sound ridiculously simple. Why? It's 1 trade per day. That's it. Why 1 trade per day? Because it forces scarcity. When you've only got 1 bullet a day, you protect it, you slow down, and you stop gambling. You actually think about the decisions you make before you basically do them and you press that button. So here's how it's going to look. Week 1 is going to be the punishment phase for you. For the first week or 2, you're probably going to screw this up a lot. You'll log on and you'll see something, I don't know, your very first trade won't even be in your plan. And guess what? That's it. You're going to take that trade, the day's over, and you shut down the charts. That's your punishment. You had your shot, you blew it, and you don't get to keep clicking. And yeah, it will sting. You'll feel stupid, but that's the point. The pain of logging off after 1 bad trade is the lesson. The punishment trains the discipline. Writing "you fucked up" day after day in your journal will quickly make you realize where you're going wrong. Then you'll hit week 2, okay? And that will be the realization fade. By the second week, you'll start thinking, shit, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep wasting my 1 trade on shit setups. And the realization forces you to slow down, to get pickier, to wait, because you know you've only got 1 bullet for the whole day. And suddenly you start holding yourself more accountable in a way that you've never actually done before. Now, as I say, this isn't a quick process, right? This is going to take 1, maybe 2 weeks before you actually, start to see some progress. I can almost guarantee that for the first week and probably even the second week that you'll log on and you'll still take a shit trade, right? And you'll have to call it quits on that and you'll have to be done until it starts to kick in. Now, by the 3rd and 4th week, right, this is what we call the habit phase. Something powerful will start to happen. All of a sudden, you've conditioned yourself to only pull the trigger when an A+ setup shows. You're no longer clicking just to feel in the game. You're no longer chasing. You've built patience. You've built discipline, not because you read about it in a book or you watched some silly YouTube video, because you actually lived it. right? And you got that experience. So when you get to the end of that month, you've cured the exact behavior that was blowing you up. And for some of you, it really can just be that easy. So if you're the one more trader, the doubler, the martingale trader, or the overanalyzer, your cure isn't a new strategy. It's not another prop account. Your cure is literally as simple as one trade per day. That's it. Let the punishment phase hurt you. Let the realization phase humble you, and let the habit phase transform you. And stick with that for 30 days and you'll be a completely different trader on the other side. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about obviously the silent spiral and the tilt addict, because your problem is a lot deeper. So some of you aren't just tilting for a day, right? You're in something much, much deeper. This is, as I say, the silent spiral trader, the one who quietly blows up their accounts week after week, month after month, and doesn't tell a soul. And this is also, of course, the tilt addict, the one who actually needs chaos, who feels uncomfortable unless the stakes are maxed out, and subconsciously creates tilt just to get a rush, just to feel alive, to get that true adrenaline kick, to get that dopamine. You are basically a true gambler. And for you, the problem isn't just bad trades. The problem is that you've actually ingrained tilt into your identity. These aren't mistakes anymore. They're actual habits. Your default setting is tilt. That is your habit. And if you're in this camp, you've got to hear this. You're not just trading badly. You built an identity as a gambler. And until you kill that identity, no prop firm, no strategy, no mentor can save you. So who of you in here is actually brave enough to admit that that is you, that you are almost addicted to tilt at this point? Okay. So quite a lot of you. And if you're brave enough to obviously admit that that is your problem, then that's amazing, because that's the first step, right? And now we can obviously build to recover you. Okay. So how, of course, do you fix this? So the brutal truth is that your problem is much more serious than revenge trading. You've actually trained yourself to normalize destructive habits, right? Because you've spent so long tilting day after day after day that it's now just become a habit for you. You can't just blow 20K and expect that tomorrow you'll suddenly be disciplined again. It doesn't work like that. The process takes time. And if you force it, you're only digging the hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's why you end up burning another 5K, and then another, and when really you should have just been rebuilding from the start. So here's the reset protocol for the silent spiral and the tilt addict, okay? First of all, hard reset, okay? Right? You need to take one whole entire week, at least, with no live trading, no new prop accounts, no sneaky redeposits. Your only job is to break the cycle of compulsive clicking. Backtest if you want, paper trade lightly, but no real money at risk, okay? Your priority is to reset your nervous system. Rest, train, sleep, recover. And obviously I'm going to say about how important that is, because we spoke about the science at the beginning, about what is actually driving you to be in that state. So why of all does this actually matter? When you've been in a cycle of tilt, your body is stuck in a constant state of fight or flight. Cortisol levels are elevated, adrenaline is firing, and your nervous system is wired like you're under attack. In that state, you cannot trade rationally, right? It's biologically impossible. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles logic, planning, and discipline, gets dialed down, so your survival brain takes over. That's why you keep clicking even though you're wrong, right? I'm sure, as I said at the start, right, I'm sure you've all felt this, yeah? You're down like ridiculous amount on the day. And for some reason, it just feels comforting to press buy one more time, right? And you just think, I'm going to keep averaging in, and it's going to turn around, and it's going to feel, and then the price does one little candle movement back towards you. And it feels so much comforting after that loss, right? That is literally that happening. So the only way to break the loop is to reset your system back to baseline. So what do you need to be doing? First of all, sleep, right? Sleep lowers cortisol and restores balance to your stress hormone. Poor sleep keeps your amygdala active, right? Making you more reactive and emotional in the chair, right? More sleep equals more profits. It's that simple. You need to be taking your sleep seriously when trading. Training, exercising, it's one of the fastest ways to burn off adrenaline and regulate dopamine. Even a 20-minute run or a lightweight session can shift your body out of the tilt mode, right? So you need to be doing these things to reset. Meditation and breath work, right? They're not about being zen or anything like that. They're literally rewire your vagus nerve response, slowing your heart rate, calming down your amygdala, and bringing your prefrontal cortex back online. And then you've got adaptogens like ashwagandha, right? Things like that that reduce your cortisol levels over time, right? It's not magic powder, but it can help you keep your baseline stress lower so you don't tilt as it quickly. Think of it like this. You wouldn't expect a fighter to go in the ring after 3 nights of no sleep and a head full of Red Bull. Yet traders do it on a daily basis and wonder why they got wrecked emotionally. If you're serious about breaking the revenge cycle, resetting your nervous system isn't optional, it's the foundation. And until your body is calm, your mind will always betray you when it comes to trading. Okay? I can see a lot of people typing questions. So I'll come back to these at the end, but yeah. Okay, cool. So step 2 is small and boring, right? After you've reset and you've done that week of reset, this is where you come back. But the key is you don't come back the same. Your instinct will scream, I need to make it back fast. I need to cover. I've left behind. I've not been making progress for the last week, right? But sometimes you have to take 1 step back to go 2 steps forward. And the instinct is the exact reason you've been blowing up. So we need to flip that on its head. For the next 30 days, you trade with risk so small, it doesn't even make your palms sweat, right? I'm talking micro lots, single contracts, right? Share size so tiny that you'd laugh if someone else posted the P&L. But the truth is, the stage isn't about growth, it's about rehab, right? And your new score is no longer dollars of profit, it's just discipline. The win is not I made $500, the win is I followed my plan on every trade. Think of it like strength training after an injury. If you blew out your knee, you wouldn't walk into the gym, slap on 4 plates back on the squat rack, and you'd start body weight resistance bands, slow rehab movements. And it's the exact same with your trading account, right? We need to rebuild the foundations. We need to rebuild these habits from the start, right? And obviously boring, right? Boring trading, that is the medicine that you need. Every trade journaled, every plan followed, no wild swings, no dopamine rushes, just boring, repeatable processes. And at first, your ego will absolutely hate it. You'll feel like, what is even the point of trading this small? But that's exactly the trap. The frustration is proof that tilt has been your default because the market has always been your adrenaline source. So if you can't handle trading small, then you know for a fact you have a problem. If it annoys you and you no longer can get on with the process, then you really are that deep and you need to be doing this, okay? So step 3 is to then do the habit rewire. This is the key for you guys because you built tilt into your identity. As I say, you need that full rewire. So here's how to do it, right? You've got the 30 days minimum, non-negotiable, 1 month of strict discipline, no excuses, no exceptions, right? Daily journaling, every single trade, every emotion, every trigger gets logged in TradeZella. You're not tracking P&L, you're tracking your behavior, right? Strict trade recaps, okay? So making sure that you're recapping every day, doing your everything that you know you should, right? And then we've got trading caps. So for example, if your rule is 3 trades per day, right? It's not 3, it's not 4, it's not just 1 more trade. You hit your cap, you're done, period. We need to be following our rules strict. Do a pre-market contract with yourself. Each morning you sign off your rules, your max loss, your trade cap, your hours that you're allowed to trade. Put it in writing so there's no wiggle room when tilt whispers in your ear to say, size up, do that 1 more trade. And have 0 tolerance for breaking the plan. You don't bend rules, you don't make exceptions, and if you break a rule, you don't just shrug it off, you hit the reset button, right? So every time you relapse, you start at day 1. You slip up on day 12, back to day 1. Blow your trade cap on day 27, you go back to day 1. Why? Because that's how habits are rewired. Every relapse resets the clock until the new behavior becomes your default. And the goal here isn't growth. Your goal isn't to make X dollars in a month. The one goal is to rebuild your relationship with discipline from the ground up. Think of this like a detox. Right now, your tilt is a drug. Step 3 is where you cut it out, ensure the withdrawals, and rewire your brain so that you actually follow your rules, not break them, because that then becomes second nature. Do this for 30 days straight, and you're no longer just trying to be disciplined, you are disciplined, and that then becomes who you are. So if you're a silent spiral trader or a tilt addict, Your issue isn't discipline, it's identity. You've normalized the chaos, and the only way out is through boredom, tiny size, and 30 days of strict rules. That is not optional. That is the absolute minimum. Because until you can prove to yourself that you can trade without tilting, without that chaos, you're not ready to size up. You're not ready to be in this game anyway. And if you do have those sort of deeper thoughts or those subconscious sort of feelings that, I'm wasting my time, I'm not making money, again, that is further proof that you're just not ready to make the money that trading can give you. Okay? Is everyone following me so far? Journey up the mountain begins again. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Guys, I just want to remind you, obviously, make sure to like the video. Obviously, it helps me out a lot if you do. Please. But yeah, all right, we'll carry on. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to give you some tools and tips to obviously help you with that, okay? So, first of all, circuit breakers, okay? So these are the tools that you're going to use once you get back into the chair and you start trading again after you've done this process. Now, because tilt is just like an electrical surge, if you don't have breakers in place, the whole system gets fried, and your account is the system. So the first one is we're going to try, maybe we'll do this live together, maybe we won't, but it's called box breathing. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and then hold for 4. Okay, so I want everyone to just give that a go. Okay, just take a deep breath in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out for 4 seconds and hold that for 4 seconds. Feel the difference, right? Even after just 30 seconds, it slows your heart rate, your vision winds back out, and your brain comes back online, right? It's not just meditation, fluff, or, a bunch of whatever. But this is literally shutting down the amygdala hijack and bringing blood flow back to your prefrontal cortex, that part of the brain that makes rational decisions. Okay, so if you ever feel the tilt creeping in, just do the box breathing method and try just reset yourself in the moment. Okay. Second, walking away, the simplest one ever, right? Tilt thrives obviously when you stay glued to the screen and you start looking at the charts, right? You'll start seeing trades that aren't even there. You start just making trades up and you'll start saying, that's an A+ trade. I need to get in on that, right? The charts become like quicksand. The harder you fight, the deeper you sink. And that's why you need reset rituals. So stand up, walk to another room, do 20 push-ups, go grab a coffee, right? Blast music if that's what you're into. Step outside for fresh air. The rule is basically you don't return until your breath and your heart rate are now calm and you no longer feel that tilt. Sometimes that's 5 minutes. Sometimes it's the rest of the session. Either way, walking away resets the environment and breaks the revenge loop before it spirals. Okay? If your mindset isn't right and you're just not in the right place, there's no point you being at the charts, right? Sometimes the best trade to take is the one that you don't take at all. And that in the long run is what's going to help you stay in the game. Because we all know one bad day, one bad mindset, 15 minutes of just thinking, that's okay, and not being in the right headspace can literally ruin months of progress. Like 20 minutes in this game of just being like an absolute degenerate can literally drain your bank account to zero. So that's why it's so important to make sure that we're in the right headspace when we're trading. And obviously the third one, which is obviously something that we should all have anyway, right? Are obviously the systems that you put in place. So, sometimes your willpower, you won't be strong enough to have that. So you need a max daily loss. You hit it, the day's over. No debating, right? You need to be following your rules, right? How many trades can you take in a day, right? Limit the amount of trades you can take in a day. That's why the one trade a day will work so well, because it's almost impossible to blow your account. And you need to journal every single trade before you re-enter a trade, right? You do not place another trade until you've written at least one line of reflection about the last trade. Even just typing, I tilted, chase this one, forces that awareness and slows you down a little bit. You actually recognize, okay, I tilted in that last one, and you wrote it out. Now you've recognized the problem, and now you're more likely to step away. These rules are your safety net. So when your brain is screaming, just one more, these systems are what pull the plug, okay? And then using other things such as check-ins on TradeZella, right? Another great tool. So here's how you do it. Every single 30 minutes during the trading day, go into TradeZella and use one of the pre-built templates and just write down 2 things. So let me just show you that. So if you just go, for example, view my day, and you go to TradeZella, there's literally these templates that are set up, right? So if I go intraday check-in, these are already here set up for you that you can use. Okay. Basically what you do at each one of these time zones, so every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you want to do, you just write down what's happening in the market right now. How you feel in this exact moment? And if you write calm, focused, clear, you're good, right? But if you write, I feel on edge, I feel frustrated, or I'm bored, that's your signal you're no longer fit to trade. So shut it down and walk away, right? This forces you to basically be aware, because most traders don't realize tilt has already taken over until they've already clicked the button and blown their account. Check-ins catch it before you obviously start to spiral. So being able to come in and write every 30 minutes, set an alarm on your phone every 20, 30 minutes, set that alarm, right? Come into TradeZella. This is how I feel right now. Oh, okay. I just wrote that I'm a little bit frustrated. All right, time to get off the day. I'm going to lock myself out my account. It can be that easy, okay? So tilt is obviously, as I say, right? It's a spiral, and spirals never fix themselves. They only stop when you insert some kind of circuit breaker, okay? So remember this framework. Breathe to reset the body, walk away to reset your environment, and hard rules to reset your system. And use check-ins to catch yourself before you spiral. Put those four together, and you've given yourself a fighting chance to stop tilt before it wipes you out. Next, I'm going to give you an implementation framework for this, okay? So now we've talked about why revenge trading happens, the science, the spiral, and even how to reset. But none of it matters unless you have something you can actually use tomorrow morning. Here's the framework I want you to implement. Right? Simple sticky note system. Put this right on your monitor where you can't avoid it. 4 questions you must check in before every trade. Am I calm? All right. If your heart is racing or your breathing is shallow, you're not in the right state to trade. No exceptions, right? Have I journaled the last trade? You don't earn the right to click again until you've written 1 or 2 lines about the last trade. What worked, what didn't work, what you felt. If you're someone who chronically overtrades, this is literally your punishment. Yesterday, you took 100 trades. Imagine having to journal all of those trades. This alone should be enough to make you stop. So if you're someone that overtrades, if you actually make yourself and force yourself to journal every single trade, by the time you're finished journaling, 1, you're going to be fed up because you just had to journal 100 trade and that was horrible. And 2, you also just had to write 99 times, I took a bad trade and I didn't follow my plan. That is going to ingrain something into you. Next one, am I under my daily loss or trade cap, right? If you're at your cap, the day is done. Doesn't matter if it's the best setup of the year pops up. The rule is the rule. You need to follow it. You need to have these strict risk management rules in place to actually allow your edge to play out. And is this trade in my plan? If it's not in your playbook, it does not get touched, okay? End of story. I want you to use the playbook feature on TradeZella, or even have a separate sticky note that has every single rule for your playbook, and you must hand tick each one off before you can enter a trade. No exceptions. If you write in your playbook, I don't know, for example, this has to break this zone and retest here, then you do not take the trade until that happens. If the trade runs away, fine. There's infinite opportunities in the market. There's infinite days. The market isn't going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Have patience to wait for your A+ setups. And if you can't check all 4 boxes, you simply don't get to click. It's that simple, okay? Next, doing yourself a pre-market contract, okay? So every morning before you trade, I want you to sign a contract with yourself. Yes, pen to paper. Is what it should include. Your max daily loss, e.g. minus 2R, 3R, $500, right? Once it's hit, you're done. No debates. How many trades you can take? Limit yourself to 2 free trades max. Even less if you're struggling, as I say, do the 1 trade a day rule, okay? Session hours, define your time that you can trade. If you only trade 9:30 to 11:30, you do not touch the market at 2 p.m. out of boredom, because you will just force a trade and it's not your session, right? Reset rituals, write down your circuit breakers. If you break a rule, what's the reset? Walk away, journal, gym, that becomes automatic. And a good thing to do if you're really struggling is 1 session, 1 asset, 1 trade, right? Really keep it simple, really dial it down, especially if you're going to be doing obviously the 1 trade a day challenge. 1 session, 1 asset, 1 trade. Keep it simple for yourself. Make it easy to follow your rules. You sign it, you date it, right? You make it real. And the beauty of it is that obviously, you've got, like, for example, the progress tracker on TradeZella, right? You don't have to just write your contract and forget it. Every morning, open up the progress tracker, input your max loss, trade cap, and your reset ritual and tick it off daily. Then you have a full log showing whether you're actually keeping your word, right? No hiding from that, no excuses. Progress then becomes visual data. And if you follow that for a month, then you get to reward yourself, okay? Because think about it. If you run a restaurant the way that most traders run their accounts, you'd be out of business within a month, probably even less, right? Imagine saying, I'll serve customers when I feel like it today. And maybe I'll give out some free food here and there because I'm in a bad mood. That's how you guys run your trading, right? Real businesses have contracts, they have systems, they have processes. Trading is no different. If you want to treat this like a hobby, that's fine. But hobbies cost a lot of money. And if you want to treat this like a business, then start acting like a business owner, right? And that starts with signing a contract and making a promise to yourself. Now, here's where most people fail, right? They write the sticky note out once, they sign the contract once, and then it gets buried under clutter, right? You need accountability. And if you're someone that struggles with that, right, post your pre-market contract daily in the TradeZella community. Literally send it me, and I will literally help you stay accountable. So join the TradeZella Discord, post your contract, and me and the rest of the community will check in on you and make sure that you're staying accountable. Share it with a friend, okay? It doesn't matter if they're in trading or not, okay? Literally just share it with a friend and then get them to check in on you. Did you do this today? No, I didn't. Okay, why the hell didn't you do that today? Go back to day one, right? Or even taping yesterday's signed contract above your desk so you can literally see your failures if you broke it. That way, it's not just words, it's tracked, it's visible, and you cannot hide from it, right? Rules in your head don't work. Stress and tilt will easily erase them. Rules on paper, in front of your face, signed daily, they work. That sticky note, that contract you made with yourself, that promise, that's the accountability layer that you take from this theory and you put it into practice. Because the truth is, discipline is not about willpower, about building a system so strong that even on your weakest day, the system protects you from yourself. Okay, so here's what I want to do, right? Obviously, that was the accountability slide. But what I want you to do is I want you guys to walk away with this and do a challenge, okay? I want you to challenge yourself for this, right? You do not fix revenge trading by reading books or hoping you'll magically be more disciplined tomorrow. You fix it by proving yourself with data that you can actually follow your rules. And that's why I'm giving you this challenge. It's 30 days. Think of it like 75 hard, but for trading. And here's how it works. Write the rules inside your TradeZella progress tracker on day one. Max risk per trade, max trades per day. Your size, make sure it's smaller than usual. Size down for a month, as I say, right? Trade so small it doesn't stress you out. Your only goal is execution. You don't care about P&L, you care about forming good habits, okay? That's it. I want you to journal every single trade, entry, exit, setup tag, emotions, right? No skip days, no skip days, no skip trades, nothing, okay? And you only take trades from your playbook. If it's not your setup, you do not touch it. Be strict with that. And every time you break a rule, you restart at day one. No exceptions, no excuses. You get to day 29, you break one of the rules, you go back to day one, right? You do not get to start scaling up and you do not get to size up and actually start reaping the rewards from trading until you've earned it. And you've managed to prove to yourself that you can stick to your promises to yourself and follow consistency for 30 days, right? And if you can't complete 30 days of following your own rules, then I'm sorry, this is harsh, but maybe you shouldn't be a trader, right? Because the minimum standard for success in this game is that basic discipline, right? If you can't show discipline on a small size with simple framework, then you won't survive when real money and pressure are on the line. If you can't manage $1,000 account and you keep blowing it every other week, what do you expect to do when you get to $1 million account? You need those habits already ingrained on you for yourself, okay? Yourself in 5 years will thank you right now for starting building those habits. Prove to yourself first that you deserve to be here. Build the discipline before you try to build the account. And the funny thing is, when you size down, you actually stick to your playbook for 30 days, it might just end up being your most profitable month ever. Not because of the size, but because you finally traded with some sort of consistency. Or you can always go back into the spiral, keep this up for another couple of years before you finally realize all you had to do was something this simple. All right. So that's pretty much today's webinar, guys. I hope all of you enjoyed. I hope you all took something away from this. And I hope you all, if you are serious about helping your trading psychology, take part in this challenge. Okay. As I say, right, feel free to join the Discord and I will help keep you accountable. Right. Yeah. So as I say, I'll put the link in the chat. Do I have IG? Yes, I do. It's Cutler Trades. But as I say, all right, new week, new you tomorrow. Okay. You're going to start off building consistency. You're going to start off from just being small, building up the correct habits and letting those habits compound to eventually, in time, in 2 years' time, if you start building the correct habits now, oh my God, you will look back and thank yourself a dozen. Don't be like me. Do not be like me, who got a bit lucky, right? In the sense that I could trade, but my psychology was nothing. I made a lot of money. 2 weeks later, I blew it all. It all meant nothing. Do not be like me. Right? Learn from my mistakes. Take the time to build the habits. Take the time to lay the foundation. And then after you've laid your foundation, then and only then you can let the rocket obviously take off, right? So yeah, I'm going to put the link for the Discord obviously in the chat for you guys so you can go ahead and join. So it's just there for you now. And if you want, right, and you obviously need an accountability partner, put your contracts in the Discord and we will obviously all together help keep each other accountable. And I will obviously help keep you accountable. Guys, there's like 300 of you in here. If you can please like the stream, it helps a lot. And if you're not subscribed to the TradeZella YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe because we have strategy videos, we have psychology videos, we have interviews with successful traders, everything, right? It's all coming here, okay? I've got prop firm passing guides coming. I've got the whole thing for you, okay? Can you show slides 13 and 14? This one. Free market contract and accountability. That's what I was saying, guys, right? No one's liked it. There's so many of you in here. No one liked it. But yeah, obviously the main thing today is that I just want you guys to obviously start building those proper foundations, start putting in the good habits, and then obviously you can scale your trading exponentially. Yeah, I'll put the slide deck in the Discord for you guys. So anyone who wants the presentation, join the Discord and I'll post it in the webinar chat in there. Thank you, and slide 14. Sure. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer a couple now before I get off. I'll move that over to there. No, looks like we're all good for questions. Okie dokie. No worries, no worries. Cool. If you have multiple prop accounts and are copying, is it advisable to only trade one account, one trade per day for this challenge? I think your question that you're asking answers your problem straight away, right? If you're instantly thinking, oh, I need to trade 5 accounts, otherwise I'm wasting my time, then you know the answer to your problem, okay? The whole thing is that we're trying to build good habits, okay? We don't care about the P&L because if you have shit habits and then in 4 months' time, right, you obviously think, oh, you know, now I've just made 10K because I've copy traded all these accounts. That's great. But if you don't have the good habits, it's not going to last. And eventually all the money you make is going to get blown. Okay. So just start simple, one account, like low size, one trade. Okay. Just build the foundation, then you can scale. Okay. If you build that foundation, when it comes to scaling, that's going to be so easy, right? You'll be, all of a sudden you'll have built this foundation and it would have took you 2-3 months, maybe even a month, right? And then when you get to the 6 months period, because you've got such a good foundation, all of a sudden your trading is going to scale so exponentially quick, right? And all of it's going to seem like it happened overnight, but it's not because you put in the work to build that foundation to start with. Okay, cool. Right, I'm going to leave you all on that. Obviously, make sure to join the Discord and yeah, I'll keep talking with you guys up in there. If you guys can hit the thumbs up before you leave the stream, again, I'd really appreciate it. But have a good day, everyone. Have a good weekend. And if you guys aren't familiar, we also do a daily pre-market prep webinar with myself and Newman Trades in Discord as well every day. So we run down through the markets every day in there. So make sure to join that tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. EST if you're interested. Okay. I'll see you in a bit, guys. Bye.